Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the EAP Counsellor podcast. I am feeling very grateful and lucky and excited today because I have a guest who I'm going to be introducing to you in a moment and interviewing today for our podcast episode. I'm very excited to have Kristen McLean here from Team McLean Fitness. She is the fitness club's founder and head coach. Kristen absolutely loves her job, which is so amazing because people who I like to interview on the podcast are people that are really passionate about what they do. She's all about enabling and supporting people to take back control of their bodies and their lives, and she finds it incredibly rewarding. Team McLean is a boutique and unique club, two of my favourite words there. So not your typical gym, as they focus on you and they take physical and mental wellness from a holistic approach. Coach Kristen lives for amazing adventures and clever design, good quality food and great company, keeping a healthy body and soul. And lives by her mantra, which I love this, everybody, just wait till you hear it: train mean, eat clean, and live green. That is brilliant. Kristen, I love it. Was it hard to come up with that mantra?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've always trained hard and everything rhymes with McLean. So I'm like, that's pretty catchy. So it worked.
Absolutely. I love it. It's so good. So welcome. It's really exciting to have you here today. And I just know that the listeners of the EAP Counsellor podcast are going to really enjoy listening to you and today's interview. And I'm absolutely sure that they're going to get lots of little nuggets of gold along the way. And I think it's brilliant to be able to be talking about well-being and wellness from all different spheres, because we are all about the holistic approach. We know that mental and emotional health and well-being is really important, but so is physical health. And this is where you come in, and I know that you also are very interested in providing well-being programs and support to workplaces as well. So it's lovely to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. It's great to have you. I'm really curious and wanted to ask, what inspired you to become a personal trainer?
Well, inspiration, it feels like such a long time ago now, but when you're young and full of sugar, you sort of have all these dreams and aspirations. But honestly, my then boyfriend, now husband, actually encouraged me to get into the health and gym scene. So he definitely encouraged me to become a bit more of a gym junkie than what I was.
Yeah.
And from that experience, just being in that environment and feeling so good, just inspired us to learn more about health and fitness. Like, we actually wanted to learn, the mechanics of the body and the biology and everything like that comes along with health and wellness and training. So we actually did our Cert 3 and 4 in fitness together, which was kind of cute.
Yeah, very.
And yeah, we just wanted to learn. So to apply that education to our own training, we did our full-time jobs as well. So it was quite of a challenge, but we got through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. And I always find, the mechanics of things really interesting. So the mechanics of the body is fascinating, like the mechanics of the brain and everything like that. So it would have been, it would have been really amazing to be learning as you're going there.
Yeah.
Tell me, sorry, I just interrupted you.
No, I said it was heaps of fun, and yeah, learning and applying it. I think that's what you get more out of it. So you can train till the cows come home, but if you do it properly, you do it well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to know. Tell me, have you always been into exercise, personal training, and sport?
Yes, yes, yes. I've always been an active person. I did netball from, you know, on a grade 5. How old are we?
Yeah.
10. Carried that on through my teenage years. I actually got picked for the Geelong squad back in the 90s, which was really cool. But then I tore my ACL.
Oh no.
So that put a spanner in the works, and yeah, it sort of put that on the back burner. So then I took up cricket and boxing instead. So that was always fun. That was
Oh,
a bit more of a kind of a kind of sport than netball on your knees and ankles. And yeah, I've always loved watching sports as well. So football, AFL. Um, yeah, it was good fun.
awesome. Am I allowed to ask which AFL team you barrack for?
Oh, cats, come on.
How did I know you were going to say that?
It was my uncle's fault. He's like, Kristen, you're going for the cats. I'm like, okay. That was the conversation. I clearly remember it.
Yeah, so no choice. It was just this is who you're going
This is
for.
what we're doing. Okay.
Okay. Lucky they're good.
Yes, I know. It was a long time we weren't there for a while. There's lots of tears.
uh, I'm a Carlton supporter.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yes. They won a lot when I was choosing back in the day. And I was always brought up with the belief that once you picked your team,
That's
you
it.
could
You stuck to
never change.
it.
So, and I'm very glad I've never changed because we're good. Tell me, um, I always love to find out from people pivotal moments. Um, 'Cause I get really curious about it, and I think hearing about people's pivotal moments is really, really interesting. So I'm just wondering if you would be happy to share a pivotal moment in your career that really solidified your passion for fitness and well-being.
Oh, absolutely. So back in my previous life, I was a graphic designer. So I was in the corporate world for 12 years.
Mhm.
And yes, early days in that career, I got my fitness degree. And I sort of always had it as a side hustle while I was working, your 45-hour week in the corporate world as we do. Um, and it was always a wanting to do it. I've always wanted to dive into it, but didn't have the guts, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
like to close that one door and open the other. So I just dabbled for a long time, and I took my marketing team out on before work, lunch times, or after work little fitness sessions because I needed to get my
Mm.
steps up and exercise through the day. So I basically led by example. So I went out and did it, and the guys came along, and we'd run up and down the oval, we'd go walking, we'd do, body weight sessions. And every time we come back from it, everyone was just so supercharged. Everyone was so happy, and we had a great laugh. And that was that point going, oh, this is where I need to be. I
Yeah.
need to get these people out of their sedentary lifestyles and actually make a positive mental and physical health change. Because that afternoon from that lunchtime session, how productive were we? We were like
Yeah.
charged. We were on fire. We loved it. We worked so well together. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. So that was definitely the key point for me.
That's brilliant. And I
It was good.
love too that you can really see the energy and the productivity, can't you? Post that exercise for the afternoon. I
Mm.
mean, I can only imagine, I'm visualizing the productivity. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And it brought us together. Like it actually made us better friends.
Good. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. What's your personal mission or your why behind what you do?
Such a curious question because my personal why, like I said, I was a desk worker for such a long time, and working out before or after work, I couldn't see a physical change in my body because I had such a sedentary lifestyle for those, 10 hours a day. And I thought something's got to give, this can't be my life. This is not what I find my life to be. And looking at my grandparents and my parents, seeing their quality of life diminish as they got into their older years, I just saw my future. I was just like, yeah, no, this is not okay. And now I guess we're so much more educated than, our grandparents were back in their day, where they, work, they just eat whatever. They'd have decent food,
Mm.
but just building that muscle and retaining that quality of life through their 40s and 50s into their 60s and 70s. Yeah, that is definitely my why. So quality of life definitely is the key.
Excellent. Love that.
Mm.
And, to be able to pass that on to clients and inspire people as well, I think what an amazing mission for your business,
Mm.
and to provide people with as well. That's really good.
Yeah, nice. Giving people hope. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. It's awesome. And my next question for you actually has the word hope in it. You must have known.
Mhm.
Uh, how do you hope to make a difference, or how do you plan to make a difference in the world through your work, through the work that you do?
Yeah, well, I guess the wider, I'd like to start off with our wider Geelong community. We'll bite off small bites and it'll take on the world in a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, just looking around Geelong and yeah, seeing the quality of life, in our community. We're living longer, and you see, the lifestyle villages and the nursing homes pop up, every 2 kilometers,
Mm,
and just wanting to create the independence in those later stages of life. So yeah, just wanting that quality and that community to be healthier and not rely on the government for support financially, um, or their families to have to look after them and things like that. You want those people to have independence if we are living longer. I always ask my clients, whether they're in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, I just ask, yeah, how do you want to live when you're 60 or 70? And they always take a step back and go, oh, wow, I don't know.
mm.
Mm,
And how nice is it, and proactive, that you're asking them that question,
mm,
because it's something that for probably quite a few of them they've never thought of before.
yeah,
And when we are not necessarily forced, probably wrong word, but when we're asked a question that we haven't been asked before, and that makes us think about it, it definitely helps us to make some changes and tweaks that we need to, going forward.
yeah. And it usually takes that little penny drop moment going, oh, hold on, what? Actually, gee whiz, I can't keep doing this.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. Can you share with us a success story where you really felt that you'd made a significant impact on a client's life?
Yeah, so actually one original client, I say OG client, he's been with me for about 4 years now, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Love him
Yeah.
to pieces. He came to me, yeah, like his last point of like he needed somebody to help him. He came in hobbling in,
Oh.
mind you, came in. He could barely come up my driveway. It's got a little incline, but not that dramatic if you've know Belmont and Highton area.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, he stumbled into the gym and just pretty much said, "This is what I need. I need you to help me be able to walk again." Pretty much. So assessing his previous habits, his current lifestyle, and where he wants to be, we set out a plan on how to make this happen. So I figured out with his osteo, so we work closely with his osteo,
Brilliant.
his functional movement, figuring out what parts of his foot, what parts of his knees and hips were all out of alignment, his spine and things like that. So we work together and we, create this program for not a rehabilitation, but strength and mobility work. Um, and yeah, just chipped away at it, challenged him, There was lots of swear words, there were lots of tears at some stage, but we got through it, and the perseverance of him, that's what got him across the line. So
Mm,
now, yeah, 4 years later, he's taken a shuffle, like, he's actually got his cardio endurance back up. He can, one of his goals was actually to ride his motorcycle.
mm.
So he's got this beautiful bike, stunning, and he was riding it, but if he came off it or it fell over, he couldn't pick it up.
Oh,
He
yeah.
had to get somebody. So now he's just wrenching this bike up like there's no
Wow.
tomorrow and smashing
Yeah,
it. So that little life, that little success story always makes me really smile because he put in the effort, he made the change, and he's living his best life now.
that's brilliant. I love to the team approach. Got to get in the business name there.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I love it when I hear people working alongside other professionals as well, and creating that team to support
Yes.
people. And it's brilliant that you had the osteo on board, and you were on board, and he clearly did the work and did the things that he needed to do as well to get the
Yeah.
results. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And very cool that he can lift that bike up as well, because you do need to be strong for that.
Oh, yes, yes. It definitely is a beautiful bike. I was just like, how did you buy that and not be able to figure out how to pick it up to start with? Boys and their toys, right?
Absolutely. Well, now we can. So
Yeah, that's
it's
it.
all good. Well,
Mhm.
that's excellent. Let's talk now well-being in the workplace and well-being and workplace health. I know that you have an interest in healthy workplaces and well-being at work in general, as do I. And I always love talking to people who share the same passions and who want to make a difference for employees. So I'm wondering what sparked your interest in workplace health and well-being.
Yeah, so yeah, like that original story with working with my corporate wellness team.
Mm,
Yeah, just seeing that change in their demeanor as we became better friends and improved our little culture amongst ourselves. Just, yeah, enabling people to really take back their day. Like, we do punch those hours out if we have to. So um retraining that mind, retraining that culture,
yeah,
just really thought, yeah, everyone needs to be friends, everybody needs to be working together well, or at least have an in sync together, and understand personalities and differences and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I really love all that interpersonal skills.
yeah. So do I, and it's so important for happiness, positive culture, and all of those things. You have spoken a bit, or quite a lot already, with your story about bringing people on board when you were in your other career uh, with lunchtime fitness and things like that. And some of your values definitely have shone through there. And I can hear that just, connections important to you, friendships and everything like that. So, you have talked a bit about the workplace and things, but I'm just wondering if there's anything um, that you haven't had a chance to mention yet in regards to physical health and fitness and its contribution to overall well-being in the workplace.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few HR coordinators and things like that, and their main focus has been employee retention.
Yeah,
And the wider business showing that they care about their employees, and how to keep them engaged in the workplace and not be disengaged, especially when we're working from home now. um, they've always found that the employee retention is really key. So I think that you know showing that your employees that you do care, from a higher level, definitely encourages them to invest their time into the business, as well as yeah, just strengthening the relationship between the work and the employee. I think that's a key as well.
absolutely. And people know. when they are cared about, looked after.
Mm.
We know, and we know, I guess, the workplaces um, that look after their people more effectively than some others. And I think retention is a big thing, absolutely, and it can be really hard to retain great staff, great employees. So when businesses do go that extra mile and provide services like yours, what you can do, they're definitely showing that they care,
Mm.
but they're also they're getting happier, healthier people that work better together, and you know,
That's
productivity goes up, and as we know, results happen when we've got happy people. So
absolutely.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm wonder like this is just a curiosity question. In your experience, being in and out of workplaces, talking to HR professionals, and talking to business owners in business groups that you're part of, what are some common misconceptions around and about that exist about workplace well-being? What have you come across in regards to misconceptions?
Yeah, so a few employees or blockages that employees that have that it costs a lot of money. They're
Yeah.
fearful about the cost, whether it be to get someone in to hold them accountable, or the cost of the time that the employees are out of the office or out of the workspace. But I always just roll it back to them and I just ask them, how can you afford not to? Like,
Mm.
yes, you might have to invest X amount of dollars. It doesn't have to cost a lot, a little
No,
bit. You can claim it on tax. Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to take too much time. All it needs to be is consistent and coming from the leadership team. So the leadership need to show that they're investing their time and efforts into their people, and they'll give it back tenfold. So it definitely, it's just changing and flipping that mindset. Or you know, tightening the purse strings. You're like, well, in any business, you need to spend money to make money. We all
Hmm.
know that.
Yeah,
So yeah, why not spend it in your people and they'll make you money? Yeah. So, yeah.
they absolutely will. I love your reframe and the question that you ask back. How can you afford not to? I
Mm,
think such a great question, and it's perfect
mm,
because really, how can businesses, employers, organisations, how can they afford not to? We can't not
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
anymore. We have to be providing these services, looking after our people, and the benefits are tenfold when we do that.
Yeah.
I
And the
hear. Sorry, keep going.
also the world is such a different place now to it was 30 years ago. And things evolve, things change. And yeah, your
Yeah,
people are your main focus now, not just the end result.
yeah.
Mm,
And I agree with you in regards to leader buy-in. That's really important, and the modeling as well. And yes, money. Questions around money is always a thing, and time, and yeah. So what you hear is what I hear out
mm.
there as well. But I'm always really grateful to come across other like-minded people like yourself that have the knowledge and the skills to be able to educate workplaces, educate business owners, employers, in regards to how important well-being is. And being able to give them, the facts and everything like that is really, really important. So it's great to have you on board with that.
And it is quite challenging to, like, experience just learning how to speak, encourage different ways of thinking. So, some people might be facts and figures, So you have to encourage them through those sorts of things. Some people are encouraged through more emotional connection. So yeah, it's just learning how to tap in to those needs of how they respond.
Definitely. And I think being able to tap into those needs and the different communication styles as well, to me, that's all part of growing as a great leader or being a really good leader too. So, yeah, great skills to have. If we had, well, hopefully not if, so for the business owners that are listening along today to our podcast, who are sitting back thinking, oh, this sounds really interesting, and yeah, I'm learning more about well-being, and I would really like to be able to invest in my people and provide them with some extra value, and definitely, I want a healthier workplace. What well-being services do you and your business provide to businesses for the better, benefit, apologies, of employees?
Well, many different options. I always meet with the um, business first and discuss what their needs specifically are, because every workplace is quite different. Scope of abilities, scope of amount of employees is also very different. But basically, it all falls down to a couple of key um, programs, I guess you call them.
Yeah.
It can be a weekly session or a monthly wellness session. So it doesn't have to be too frequent like a week, but if everyone's keen and excited, definitely. Yeah, monthly, which also encourage that consistency and that awareness of this healthy mindset. Or it could also be just a quarter. So every quarter, like every 3 months, it can be a bonding activity. So as long as you're keeping it consistent, again, showing that you care, keeping it in the forefront of your mind that this is our healthy workplace culture that we're bringing in to play. Um, yeah, it just helps people trust that you are actually working with them. And, if you do it once a year, they're like, oh, remember back in 2020 when we did that thing? Oh, yeah, vaguely. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not really embedded into the culture. So
Yeah,
keeping it consistent is the key.
definitely. Consistency's absolutely key. Yeah.
Yeah. So it can be, yeah, like I said, weekly, monthly wellness sessions. It can be a fitness session,
Hmm.
circuit, a boxing, a hit class. We can do mat Pilates, stretching, core stabilizing, a bit lower key rather than too high intensity,
Mm,
mindfulness, stress relief, meditation.
brilliant.
What else do we do? Walking sessions, it can just be literally going for a walk for 20
Yeah.
minutes, half an hour. Hiking days, it can be weekend retreats, it can be whatever you want to make it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
customizing to the workplace, I guess, the industry and the people too,
that's right. Yep, perfect.
and the different levels of fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you might have somebody that can run a marathon or needs help walking upstairs.
Mm,
Everyone can play together. There's always options for everybody to be involved.
totally. Do you, in providing programs like what you've mentioned, do you typically go into workplaces to do it on site, or do employees come to you somewhere? Like, yeah, how does it
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, again, so whether depending on the location, some offices, might have a spare floor or a big boardroom that they have to offer in and able to use the space, or we can go to a local park or beach space again, or you can come into Team McLean, depending on the amount of people that are coming along, depending on the activity. It's whatever that works for them.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite activity? I'm just thinking about, you mentioned hike, like, going for a hike, or um, going to different locations. Is there something that um, I guess you secretively really hope that they're going to ask for, and you think, yes, this is going to be great.
Yeah, I love hiking. I will go hiking for hours and hours if you'd let me. So whether it be at the Yuyangs or whether it be Lawn or Anglesey or, anyway, really. But I also love the sort of circuit style sessions as well. Like I
Mhm.
love getting all the different activities in the one little set. I've done a silent disco circuit style before,
Oh,
which is kind of fun, which is really cool. The silent discos with the headphones, you
yeah.
know. Um, I love it. There was two channels. One was quite fast beat music, and there was one
Yeah.
that was slow. And everyone was doing the same exercises, but some were doing it really fast, and then some were doing
Ah,
it really slow. So it was really quite amusing to watch. It was for my benefit, let's be honest.
that's
But
awesome. I
it
love
was pretty
that.
cool. Yeah.
Ah,
Hopefully that happens again.
that's really cool.
Mm.
I was, when you were just mentioned that, I was wondering, I wonder if the people with the really fast music were moving faster
Yeah. Yeah,
because of that. Oh, I love it. That's great.
yeah.
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
I get asked, or well, I often get asked when I'm out and about and well, talking to business owners, but in general, out and about, questions around measuring the success of wellbeing initiatives, programs, strategies, etc. How do you measure the success of your wellbeing initiative?
Success? What's your definition of success? I guess that is the question, isn't it? Again, I say consistency and just the energy of your workplace. So some leaders want monetary or statistical results,
Yeah,
and they can figure that out. my my definition of success is change within themselves, change of their mindsets, change of their attitudes. Um, and yeah, just the energy and the vibe of the workplace. You can really feel it. You can definitely see when everyone's having a bad day or if
you
everyone's
can.
really charged. So, and how consistent that is across the board. Is everyone feeling really bummed by Friday or really bummed on Mondays, and is there a shift
Mm,
over those weeks with that wellness program in place? So, I just watch the people. I would
yeah.
say success is through your people.
And observation is amazing because we can absolutely see change and growth, and all of those things totally. And I would imagine as well that surveying employees, people who have attended programs,
Yeah,
I'm I
feedback.
have
Yeah.
no doubts that for your activities like mine, pre and post surveys and
Mm.
collecting data and things,
Definitely.
we
Yeah.
can get all the stats, that people want, and it is absolutely measurable. But I love what you said. Just observing,
Mm.
being able to see people who have more energy, who are more productive, who are getting along,
Yes.
better.
Yep.
That's really nice, isn't it? And
Yes.
it becomes very evident.
Absolutely. It definitely does. And you can put it into your KPIs. Have you done
Yeah.
your 10,000 steps today? But yeah, definitely those surveys definitely would help those employee. Yeah.
Mm,
Mm.
yeah. We talk a lot about holistic health, and I know that you're very holistic in your approach to health and well-being, and um, we know that our physical health impacts our mental health, which impacts our emotional health and spiritual health. All of the different healths that we have, and I love asking people who work in, or say are niched in particular areas of health, how they believe the area that they work, that they may be more niched in, how it impacts some of the other areas, because we know that everything is interrelated. So how, in your opinion, how does physical health impact mental and emotional well-being?
Yeah, it's always a hard one, is, what's the chicken or the egg, do you do the
Yeah.
mental health and get the physical, or do you do the physical and get the mental? But yeah, it definitely goes hand in hand. And yeah, through movement, everything just starts flowing.
Mm,
As soon as you start moving, the blood gets flowing through the body, the oxygen gets flowing through the body, those beautiful endorphins get released, and you get that sense of accomplishment, like that energy flow through the body makes that mindset clearer.
mhm,
And a lot of the time, those mental blockages, those mental barriers inhibit that movement. So to get over that mental barrier, I always ask, you know, you, the answer is yes. Yes, you do have to do it. Especially when you don't want to. That's
There's
on my
no magic wand.
No,
There's
you
no.
do it even if you don't want to,
Yeah.
especially when you don't want to. And that strengthens the mind. So it's not just a physical muscle. Well, your brain's a muscle, so we're strengthening
Mm,
that muscle brain to get us through those physical ones too. So, and I say, give it 10 minutes. If you really feel ordinary after those 10 minutes, stop.
mm.
Guaranteed you won't. You'll just keep going. So it's those creating those endorphins and that dopamine, it helps relieve the pain, it helps reduce the stress, it gives you a sense of well-being. So it all goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. And I know for me, in my counselling sessions, something that comes in, a lot is the word movement.
Mm.
How much movement do they have the capacity to do, ability to do, time to do it? And it's
Can
finding ways to
yeah,
incorporate that in, and the movement looks different for everybody,
absolutely.
pending
Yep.
pending capacity, time, ability.
Mm.
So yes, like we would cross over all the time
Mhm.
in conversations that we're having in our particular areas.
Yes.
I hear the word, the word motivation a lot, but what I hear with the word motivation is lack of motivation. Um, Tends to be a little bit of a theme out there. And we know that people who are struggling with their mental and emotional health tend to often, sometimes, maybe struggle with motivation, have less motivation. And it's a very real thing.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone looking to improve their physical health, but they're struggling to find the motivation to, whether it's the motivation to start or, yeah, just having struggles in that area?
Yeah. Motivation is, yeah, the key. So accountability is the key. So finding that buddy. So even just talking to somebody about it, talking to somebody that you trust, and having a conversation, stimulating thought, and if you articulate your concerns or your goals, it makes it real. So whether you write it down or talk to somebody about it, be accountable that way. So find someone that can be your buddy, whether it be a family member or a friend, get yourself a dog,
Yeah.
because the dog will look at you going, I want to go for a walk. You're like, "Mm,
Yeah, come
okay,
on, it's
let's go for a
time.
walk." Yeah. Whether it be a health or a fitness coach, just get someone else to help you be accountable. So don't rely solely on yourself. Get
Yeah.
someone else that you trust to get you kicked up the pants and go.
Yeah, and
Mm.
and to help you build that new habit if it's new.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yep.
love that. I think accountability buddies are worth their weight in gold.
100%. Yeah. And tell your family and your friends of what you want to do, and they'll help you in some way or another. They'll want to see you succeed. So get them to challenge you and ask you questions.
Absolutely. I find too, surrounding ourselves with, whether it be like-minded people or um, motivated people, encourages, it really helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just gets you
Helps us
excited
to,
about it.
yeah, and they can often just give the boost that we need to do the thing that we might be struggling with, or have a lacking a bit of motivation
Yeah.
at that time.
Mm.
So let's talk a little bit on the personal side of things. We're not going to get too personal, so don't worry.
That's all right. I'm an open book.
Yeah, good. Well, watch out, listeners. You might find out lots of things here. Um, what are you particularly interested in? And or what are some of your hobbies outside of work? Tell us about the Kristen, yeah, at home, or the Kristen when you're not at work.
It's so funny. It's really, I say it's funny, it's not funny, haha, it's odd. Because I have such a physical job, I work out most days.
Yeah.
As a hobby, I would actually go to the gym. It sounds silly, but I need to do something for myself. So, like, I
Yeah.
work for other people, I work in classes for that
Yeah.
purpose. But to actually work on myself and what I want to achieve in my health goals is completely different.
Hmm.
So, I enjoy going to the gym for myself. Um, as well as being creative, I love, like, I was a graphic designer, so I love
Yeah.
painting. I love macrame.
Yeah.
The knot folding. I find that very therapeutic. I love coloring in. So those adult coloring in books, I love.
Oh, yeah, they're good, aren't they?
So good. I just love buying the textures. I think that's
I
my
know.
thing as well.
Yeah, I love the colors of them.
Yeah.
Just, yeah,
Yes.
the bright colors.
Yeah. So I love being creative. So whether it be pottery as well, I love throwing clay.
Hmm.
Yeah, and getting outdoors and seeing friends and family.
Excellent. And the odd hike here
Yes,
and there.
definitely. Yeah, and
Yeah.
camping. Yeah. Well, I haven't been
Excellent.
camping lately, but
Oh, good. Well, we're probably hopefully heading for better camping weather.
yes.
It has, I mean, the weather has been lovely the last week, but yes, it definitely has a little bit more of a spring feel about it
Mhm.
now. So perfect
Yeah.
for you. How do you balance your personal life with your professional responsibilities?
Balance.
as
What
as you
what's
laugh.
balance? Well, I don't know what
Yeah.
balance is. I always say, do as I say, not what I do. So, I encourage healthy practices, healthy
Yeah.
balance. But to actually be honest, I don't have much of a balance. It's very challenging because you want your work to be successful, so you throw yourself into it.
Mm,
But I do make sure I have my boundaries. So I make sure I don't work past a particular point of the day.
yeah.
And yeah, make sure that I text as many people as I can or call as many people as I can on those down times just to try and
Yeah.
keep in touch and keep conversations going.
Yeah.
Even if I don't reply to your message 3 days later, but I'll still get there.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, it's very challenging to find a balance. And yeah, I live with my husband, obviously, but I never get to see him. He's like, "Oh, I'll see you later. Bye."
Yeah.
And you catch up. You're like, "Oh, how's your day?" Or "How's your week been? I haven't seen you in ages."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Challenge.
Yes. Busy, isn't it?
Yes.
The hobbies that you have, though, like obviously pending how often you actually get to do them, but they would, make such a difference for you too when you do get the chance to get creative and get outdoors and
Uh,
camp or hike and things like that.
it does. It makes you happy.
Yeah.
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 Yay.
Coffee or hot chocolate?
Coffee. Oh my gosh. You've never met a personal trainer that does not drink coffee. Trust me. I never used to drink coffee past 12 because I'm like, oh no, I can't go to sleep if I drink a coffee
Yeah.
before 12. Like, nah, give me one at 5 o'clock and I'm in bed by 8:30.
Yeah, wow. And what sort of coffee is your favorite?
It is a flat white almond milk extra shot.
Oh,
Yep.
very nice. What time's the first one?
I start off with tea in the morning and
Yeah,
then I have a coffee at 10, 2, and 4.
that sounds all very planned.
It has to be. If you saw my schedule, you'd fall off your chair. Trust me. I have to book in meal times.
Well, that's being smart.
It is, yeah. I get really cranky if I'm hungry, so you don't want me
Yeah.
booking you on an empty stomach.
No, and I think that that's just really smart. I say to my clients all the time who are wanting help with whether it's work-life balance, parenting, whatever it might be. It's about like we need to plan for self-care. We
Yes,
need to put it in, schedule it because we know that it's really important. We also know that it can be the first thing to go when we get stressed. But
yes.
at least if it's in the diary and right there, um,
It is.
we
It's
have a better chance. Well, we're
tangible.
prioritizing it and
That's
have a better chance of doing it. Well, we must have a coffee at some stage,
right.
and I can fit in with the schedule of 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, um, so that will work. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today. It's been really so lovely getting to know you more, learning just so much more about you, your passion, your why, the mission that you're on, and how you can, or what you do is instrumental in helping to create mentally healthy, physically healthy, emotionally and spiritually healthy workplaces. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for your time today. And
Hey,
I absolutely hope that any of our listeners who are interested in physical health and the physical side of well-being, if they had any questions, to get in touch with you, Kristen, and
absolutely.
chat about um,
All things
all
wellness. Yeah.
all things wellness. Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great, and I hope you have a lovely rest of Friday and a lovely weekend coming up.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
No worries.